This is the second video in the Garden Trowel tutorial videos for Fusion 360, and in this video we're going to be making the trowel blade, which is the part you see in front of you here. This is going to be one of the more complex parts as it involves using the sheet metal functions of Fusion 360 and incorporating some bends and curves into it, and we're going to edit that as well. So I'm going to start off by creating a new part, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. And in my Garden Trowel folder location, I'm going to call this trowel blade and save that there. So we're going to jump straight onto the sheet metal functions, and we're going to start a new sketch just like we've done before. And I'm going to use the plan or top down view. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a center line. So using my line tool and selecting center line, I'm going to draw an oversized center line, way bigger than I'm going to need, and I'm going to place it there. Now I find it very helpful a lot of the time to use the central coordinate system. That's where the three planes intersect, and I'm going to fix this line to that central axis here. So right click on it and press fix unfix. By doing that, no matter what we dimension to and where from, this line will always remain on that central axis, or aligned to the central plane. So we're now going to draw the outside frame of the blade. We'll use the rectangle tool and we'll just draw a rectangle there, but we're going to make it 140 across and 145 down. And it's not centralized, and that's fine, because our dimension tool, pressing D or selecting up here, central axis or center line to the outside line either side. But you notice that it says 121.262 when I've only gone halfway, and that does not look like 121. But if you come over to here where it's measuring to, it's showing you that it's measuring the diameter. Also, you've got the diameter symbol there. So the center line will act as the central axis of whatever it is you're drawing, and any measurements to it will assume outer or total width rather than just center width. So I'll press that as 140, and as you can see, all my dimensions line up. 145 I can leave the same. I can exit that. I'm now though going to click on each of these lines. I'm going to hold shift in between clicking so I can select multiple lines, and I'm going to select construction over here. So those three lines are going to be construction. The top line will leave as a normal line. I'm now going to jump into my circle tool. I can press the letter C to shortcut that if I want to, and I'm going to draw a circle with a diameter of 60, but I've started the circle on that central line there, and I'm going to press my dimensions tool for D, circle to bottom line, and I want this to be the same as the radius, which is 30, and that brings the outside perimeter in line with that bottom construction line. I'm going to select my line tool, and I'm going to go from the corner here down to the center, and it should be in line with the center. For some reason it's not showing me in line with the center, and I can't. Oh, there you go. Now it's allowing me to snap to it. Sometimes you hover across to the center point there and then bring it back, it allows you to snap. And the same on the other side, and because I've got one line on there, it's definitely going to allow it to snap to me. If this is ever an issue and you can't get this on there, you can use a line, a construction line from the center across to the outside, and that'll give you a point to snap to as well. We're now going to go to the fillet tool, and we're going to fillet these edges around here, so make them nice and round. I will select that one, and I'll select that one, and I'm going to choose 10mm for my fillet, and it does both of them at the same time. And I'm going to press the letter T, which is the trim tool here, and I'm going to trim off these two parts there. That looks like the main shape of our blade in flat form. However, what we still need to do is add two more center lines, one either side of that center line we've got there. And the reason for that will become apparent when we start doing our bends. So I'm just going to draw them, doesn't really matter where, as long as they are perpendicular, so parallel to the center line. And then there, and then I do another one over here. So they're 90 degrees down, parallel to the original center line. And if I dimension them to the center line, I want them to be a dimension of 1mm diameter. And the same on this side here. And here we have center lines that are 1mm apart, because the diameter from the center line is 1mm, so the radius will be 0.5, which is that distance there. I can now exit my sketch and I can extrude that, and because I've got all these lines here, I need to select all 4 parts. But instead of going up, I'm going to do -1.5. The reason for this is I'm going to make my sketch visible again after this, and I want to keep it visible on the top surface because I'm going to be working on that surface. So press OK. I need to press create and convert to sheet metal. I'm going to convert this body to sheet metal, and that means the computer is going to recognize it as a piece of sheet metal and allow me to use the features such as bends and folds. So it knows that I'm using steel because that's the default selection, and it detected a thickness 1.5. Okay. Before I go any further, I'm going to press save because you don't want to lose any unsaved progress. So in the sketches, I'm going to make that sketch visible, and that's going to be really helpful for us. I'm now going to press create and go to bend and stationary side. Here's the really important bit. Zoom in and click in between these 2 outside center lines. This is really important. We have to click in between them. It now wants us to add a fold. So I'm going to select one of these lines. It doesn't matter which one. I've selected that one. And you can see how that's bent up at a nice 90-degree angle. Looks very nice and neat, but that's not what we want. I'm going to go to override rules and bend override, and I'm going to change the bend radius from 1.5 to 88.35, and that gives me a nice sweeping curve. I can now add a new selection, and I'll zoom in so you can see. I'm going to put the second bend on this line here, and this is why we selected in between those 2 bits for our stationary side. This flat piece here is staying stationary. That's really important for us because it means that we're on the same axis and everything is nice and smooth. I can press OK. I can now hide that sketch again because I don't need it anymore. And that is the main bulk of what we're doing done. However, we do need to put 2 holes in it. We want 2 holes here and here so it attaches to the stem. I'm going to use the back here to insert the holes. The reason for that is if I insert the holes from the top part here, because it curves up, some of the material will sit above where the hole starts and not be cut away. So I'm going to rotate round to here, and I'm going to use the hole tool, so create hole or the shortcut letter H, and on that surface there I'm just going to click. Like in the video before, let's preset the size of this, so I'm going to set this as 2mm diameter, distance to all, and then I'm going to go for my references. First reference of course will be to the end, 10mm. Second reference, I want it to be one of these 2 sides, but it's not giving me the option to select them straight away, and it's because the hole is too close to them, it's overlapping. So I'm going to drag the hole over to the side, and now I can select it as a reference, 0.5, done. I'm going to repeat that process down here. My dimensions is set, distance is all, first reference to the end, make it nice and easy, that's 20. Second one, I want to go to this edge here, I can't, drag it across, now I can select it. And that's because the hole was overlapping with that line, so it wouldn't recognize it as a reference for dimensioning. There we go. And those are my 2 holes. And that is the main body done. The last thing to do is add an appearance to it. So tap letter A for appearance. And if we go into metal and we go down to steel, and I think let's try cast steel on this one. It gives it a nice pitted surface because this is going to be a planished piece, so that's going to give it a nice effect on it. And I think that's probably going to be the best one out of the choices there. Press save, And that is that part done. Okay, good luck.